In today's video, I'm going to cover 4 of the Leica 135mm lenses so you know which one might be best for you. Coming up, all the information you need and sample photos. Hey guys, Matt here from MrLeica.com. So yes, today I've got 4 135mm Leica lenses and I'll go through each in turn and then we'll compare sample photos. So first, the oldest of the ones I've got is the Leica Hektor 135mm f4.5. You can see size-wise it's very similar to the lens that came next, which was the Elmar. The Hektor is from 1933 to 1960, which followed the Elmar 4.5, which is an even earlier one, which would be kind of here. The Hektor is the cheapest of the 4 lenses. You can find these on eBay for maybe £100–150 used. As you'll see from some of the images, I think that's fantastic value for money. Also, the Hektor has the tripod socket, and this is a Leica M-mount lens, the same as most of the ones we're going to be talking about. Okay, next we've got the Leica Elmar 135mm f4. So very similar dimensions to the Hektor. It also has the tripod socket. This lens you can find on eBay used for around £100–150. This lens was made in the 1960s, 1960 to 1965. Next we have the Leica Tele Elmar, again 135 f4. This lens is highly regarded and maybe on paper seen as the best lens of the ones we're testing, or kind of joint best. You can see it's slightly shorter than the previous lenses. The Tele Elmar was made from 1965 to 1989. Comes in a few different versions. You've got one with red scale, you've got one with like a nilled focus ring. This is a slightly later one with a non-nilled focus ring. And then there was an even later one which had a different filter size. So as you notice, all of these lenses, or the first 3, have all got a 39mm filter size. And that makes it really easy if you're using, I'll grab one, if you're using, say, color filters. So that's the first 3. And the next one looks slightly different, and that's because this is a Leica R lens. It's 135 f2.8. But you can also get it in M mount. So if I move these to the back for a second. So here you can see the same lens, the 135mm Elmarit, in both M mount and R mount. Now my M mount is slightly different because I've got the short version, short barrel version it's called, which means it only fits on a VisoFlex. You won't see these very often. You'll normally see them with normally it'll have like a normal base like this. This is actually a 90mm base, but it'll look pretty similar. And then you'll have your 35mm, 135mm head on the top. The optics are the same or very similar between the M and the R version. So I can leave the M version there rather than the R one. But you can see I wanted to show you the R just to give you an idea of size. Now, if you are interested in using R lenses, you can use R lenses on your Leica M camera. You just need to get your M to R adapter. Price-wise, you can probably find the Elmarit R for maybe £300. The Elmarit M normally comes with goggles, and they can go for £200–250. All 135mm Leica lenses have a minimum close focus distance of 1.5 meters. That's the same for both R lenses and M lenses. Now, at first glance, these lenses look quite long for a Leica M camera. They're not particularly heavy. I think weight-wise, you've got 440 grams, 440 grams, 550, and around 730 if it's got goggles. So not this version, but the Elmarit if it had goggles. So that's the heaviest by far. Now, they do look big, and so for that reason in the past, I wouldn't have been as interested in carrying a 135mm lens around with me. But there is one cool hack. If you use a VisoFlex system, as I say, I'll make a video or see that video or blog post. That's what it looks like. You have the option to take your lens head off. It's just literally a matter of, to make it stay, it's literally just a matter of unscrewing the head like this. That's how it would normally look, as you can see here. You take your lens head off, you then attach it to a VisoFlex adapter. You have to use like a tube and then the helicoid. And now your lens kit is only this big. Now you might say, but Matt, the size looks almost the same as this. And yes, that is correct. But normally you carry the helicoid on your VisoFlex for other lenses. So this is already kind of in your kit bag anyway. So now you only need to carry this much. And as you can see, the size is quite dramatic, but it's the weight that makes the difference. This weighs absolutely nothing because this is just a aluminium tube. And so for that reason, I've really started to get into the 135mm focal lens because it's really good for getting that added compression in your photos. Now, I did shoot all these lenses on my Leica M10 using the EVF to make sure I could get critical focus. Let's now look at the sample photos and see how these different lenses compare. I was actually testing the 135mm lenses for my own interest alongside some 90mm lenses, so look out for that video to follow. So if you look at the sharpness first, for close-up sharpness, I had the camera on a tripod and then I made some kind of fake bokeh by using the plants in the background. At 1.5 meters, here you can see the center sharpness and the bokeh combined. I think the sharpest is the Tele Elmar, followed by Elmarit, then Elmar, then Hektor, but pause the video and see what you think. If you stop down to 5.6, I think the same is still true, where the Tele Elmar is the sharpest, then Elmarit, then Elmar, then Hektor, but they're all pretty good. If we now look at the infinity sharpness in the top left hand corner, the Hektor is the softest, then Elmar, with the Tele Elmar being the sharpest. If we then look in the center, the same is also true with the Tele Elmar being the sharpest. This is at f8. The first ones were wide open at f4 or f4.5. Now what about lens bokeh? So again, going back to the first test, let's look at now the background characteristics. So wide open, the Elmarit is going to give you the most shallow depth of field. The Elmar's got the most swirl, and the Hektor's got the roundest bokeh balls. If you look at the different types of character in the bokeh balls, as you stop the lenses down, the Hektor is actually better because it retains around the bokeh ball at both f4.5 and at f5.6. So that's a winner if you're stopping down. Now portraits, as you may know, I'm a model photographer and 135mm is a fantastic focal length for portraits. Models absolutely love it. I have done a video on this before where I'll show various examples of me shooting portraits with 135mm lenses. These are some of the clips from that video. I can put a link to the 135mm portraits video below and also at the end, so check that out. So as you can see from the results, even lenses like the very cheap £100 Leica Hektor lens can give fantastic images, especially if you use like a close-up adapter on something like a VisoFlex. If you want to shoot the lenses of say 5.6, the Hektor gives you the nicest bokeh because it gives you round bokeh compared to kind of more jagged bokeh from these lenses. If you need to shoot in low light, obviously the 2.8 is going to be your go-to lens. If you want potentially the best performing lens of the ones we're looking at, I'd say it's split between either the Elmarit or the Tele Elmar, with maybe the Tele Elmar slightly winning overall. And if you want the best of the best, you actually need to get the latest lens, which is the Apo Telit 135 3.4. That's the current production lens, and it's a lot more expensive than the lenses we're looking at. But if you want the best, that'll be the lens you're looking at. Hope you found it useful. Thanks as always to my amazing patrons, and hope to catch you in the next video.